going on? It's Landon Remixes here, and it is time for some countdowns. And what better way to kick it off than by counting down my 10 favorite releases from 2018 from my longtime favorite record label, Monstercat. I used to, at the end of the year, do a top 10 worst albums and EPs, but last year I decided to be a little less negative and do a video like this. And it went over really well, so I'm gonna do it again. Plus, a lot of my subscribers know me primarily through the Monstercat community, so it really only makes sense to do a video like this at the end of the year. Similarly to last year's video, this list is going to be based loosely off my votes for the Monstercat Best of 2018 album. Therefore, each artist respectively will only be able to get one song featured on this list. Also, my cutoff date for what's eligible and what's not is going to be the same as Monstercat's, so you may see a release from December 2017 on this list. And if your favorite song of the year doesn't end up on this list, don't fret. These are just my personal, quick, biased opinions. Monstercat had a really great year and a lot of great tunes released. I definitely had a hard time picking out a favorite 10, but I did it, and I'm excited to share some of my favorites with you guys. So, without further ado, let's get into my top 10 Monstercat releases of 2018. The final track on Laszlo's debut album Liftoff, which came out earlier this month. You guys should definitely check it out if you haven't yet. The album is great in all sorts of different spheres, and I don't want to give away too much because I am planning on reviewing the album in early January, but I will say one of the things that I really enjoy about the project is that it continues representing Laszlo's ability to try out new, different genres and put a little bit of unique flavor into it. This is definitely the case for Better, which I'd say is currently my favorite song on the project. I genuinely cannot think of another future bass song that sounds anything like this one. The textures and the synths that Laszlo uses in this song are very unique to the song itself, and the soundscape that he creates with Better is truly amazing. It's just so magical and mysterious, like I'm soaring through space on an intergalactic voyage. And at the same time, the lyrics are very forward-thinking, very uplifting, looking toward a bright future. I definitely didn't see this one coming from Laszlo, but I am oh so glad it did. Gotta thank my dude Redhawk for turning me on to this one so much. When I gave my first listen through Coven's Reality Reach EP, the clear standout for me was Voices, and I had a hard time figuring out why Redhawk, among others, thought Do You was the best song on the EP. But after numerous, and I mean numerous, runs through Reality Reach, I've gotta say this song is something else. The song's got basically everything that makes Voices such a great song, but without really any of the issues. Carrying over the fan choir that was used on Voices, as well as the orchestral elements that are featured across the EP, the song creates a larger-than-life atmosphere that was elevated even further when the EP was literally taken to space. If you haven't checked out the music video for Do You, I would highly suggest that you do, because it is a great watch. And I love pretty much everything about this song. It's got a beautiful structure, and the chords that are used just hit me right in the feels. The vocal performance from Katie is stellar as usual. I've grown to quite enjoy the little Odessa-influenced vocal chops that are featured across the track. And yeah, this song just rounds out as the surefire standout from a great EP. Shouldn't really be a surprise that I went ahead and put a Kuuro song on this list. They've had an absolutely insane year, and I've loved pretty much everything they've put out. In fact, Take Me Down, Knockin', and Oh Men were all strong contenders for this list, but I ended up going with Afraid of the Dark. This song kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really expect them to put out a poppier-leaning single like this, but they did it, and they did a really, really good job with it. The song is very poppy, driven by its vocal feature from K K-pop singer Sophia, but somehow that doesn't totally take away Kuuro's ability to create a song with a really dark and sinister atmosphere to it. It's a blend of like hybrid trap, pop, and future bass that I would have never expected to work as fluidly as it does. The production is amazing, and I think Kuuro did a great thing in knowing how to keep the vocals center stage. I feel like a lot of bass music producers don't know how to let their instrumentals take a back seat, but Kuuro did it in the perfect way with this song. And like I said, there were a lot of contenders for Kuuro songs that I was considering putting on this list, but Afraid of the Dark is definitely the song that I've come back to the most time and time again. Bossfight is another artist who I feel has had a pretty insane year, but picking out my favorite one from him wasn't quite as much of a challenge. I have loved Work from the first moment I heard it. I think it's great, and nobody will be able to convince me otherwise. Sure, it's a bit screechy and obnoxious, but in my opinion, that's one of the things that makes it such a great song. The song is mega impactful, super high energy, just makes me want to mosh every single time I hear it, and I'm not even really into moshing. I've compared the song to Ragabomb by Skrillex, and I think that comparison is still valid, though instead of being influenced by reggae, I'd say that Work is a little bit more Eastern influenced, and the sections of the song that feature those influences just make it feel so epic to me. The slightly out of tune music box at the beginning makes it feel so unsettling. Really, everything just works together in a way that makes this track a banger, like a real, true, genuine banger. You know, ever since Eminence and Alex Klingel did Altitude a couple years ago, I've really been wanting more progressive trance releases on Monstercat. A lot like you hit that mark for me, but also went way beyond it. I think this is probably the best trance song that Monstercat has put out to date, which is why it's kind of a shame to me that they mislabeled it as house. But no matter, this song is incredible in so many regards. Everything just flows so perfectly, from its intro to its angry minimal drop, to its little pre-drop section with the light synth chords, to its absolutely massive euphoric drop at the end of the track. As if compositionally this track wasn't amazing enough, this song also has a really great story behind it. I actually did an interview with Zach Waters where we talk about all of that and more, and I would strongly suggest you check it out if you haven't yet. I will have that down in the description below. The simple fact that it is so story driven without even having a lot of lyrical content already makes me think so highly of it. The song is pretty much perfect, and unlike a lot of EDM songs, this isn't just a dance track, this is an experience. Moving into my top 5, here is another example of an artist who has absolutely been killing it this year. RIOT has absolutely stepped up their game tenfold in 2018. Their production is insane. They're putting out some of the most heavy and enjoyable dubstep I've ever feasted my ears on. And more recently, it feels like RIOT's music is very story-driven. In my opinion, The Mob is their song that culminates all of these elements that I love so dearly into one tightly knit package. Though from an objective, non-biased standpoint, I'd say that AWA is probably the best track that RIOT put out this year. The Mob is the only song that really gave me goosebumps, and the only song that continues to do so with every passing listen. The storytelling and really the whole progression of the song is just so amazing to me. It's truly one of the most immersive dubstep songs I've ever heard. It makes me feel like I've joined this riot with a million other voices in order to fight for what's right. The drops are awesome, probably the best I've heard come from RIOT. And then the ending of the song is just so dark and unsettling, it really makes me crave for more. But thankfully, we're getting a RIOT album next year, and I've gotta say I'm probably most hyped for that of anything.
Hands down, my mind's made up, you're the best I ever had. Hands down, it feels so good when opposites attract. Hands down, I'm not one for getting too attached. Hands down, but my mind's made up, you're the the best I ever had.
This is probably one of the catchiest songs to ever hit Monstercat, hands down. When this song first came out, I can't really say I was all that amped to check it out because I hadn't really heard of Brandon Burnett or Dwilly before. I had heard some of Brandon's vocals through his work with Elephant as well as his Cosmos and Creature project, but this song, to say the least, gave me a reason to dig a little bit deeper. Sonically, one of the most unique songs Monstercat has released all year, yet still insanely groovy, ridiculously catchy. It's a pop song that breaks boundaries at basically every single turn. Forget about Monstercat for a second. I honestly could have seen this song being a worldwide smash hit, and I honestly don't know why it wasn't. Every layer of detail in the instrumental is absolutely impeccable. Brandon's vocals fit so incredibly well into the mix that I'm honestly surprised him and Dwilly haven't combined forces permanently. And while sure there are a couple lyrical moments on this song that do still bug me a tad, that are still a little bit cringy to me, and that is probably what held this song back from being my #1 pick of the year, that still doesn't take away everything that makes this song so insanely good.
Breakthrough.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys saw this one coming. It's my outro song from just about every video I did this year. I had an interesting journey with Fortress. In the beginning of 2018, I was kind of just looking for a new outro song that wasn't Wake Up, and I kind of just threw on Fortress because, you know, it was early 2018 and I was looking for something Monstercat to put on, and Fortress had just come out, so you know, that's why I did it. It had those catchy vocal chops and a pretty bright sound overall that I felt like would work really nicely as an outro, but I never thought that I was going to grow to love the song quite as much as I do now, especially considering I got so sick of Wake Up in 2017. Despite having to hear it every single time I put together a review, I found more and more reasons to love this song every time I heard it. From the relatability of its lyrics, to its jazzy chord progressions, to its absolutely thunderous bass line in the drop, this song has also grown to be probably my favorite of all of Rogue's vocal performances. Another song that I feel could have done very well on the radio, but I guess nobody was willing to give it a chance. Though I wouldn't necessarily call this Rogue's magnum opus, I'd probably save that title for Imperfect Views. Fortress is absolutely ear candy and probably the catchiest song Rogue has put together to date. See a lot of people disagreeing with this one, and honestly, I don't really care all that much. This definitely isn't the most groundbreaking song of 2018, and probably not even the most groundbreaking song on the list, but personally, I found Ready to Fly to be very, very refreshing. As a person who's been listening to Owl City for just about a decade now, it was a dream come true seeing him do a song on Monstercat, and with a song that feels more like a callback to Ocean Eyes than basically anything Adam has put out in the last few years. More or less feels like a 2018 adaptation of that sound, which was really, really cool for me. I also know a lot of Didrik's originals are very inspired by Adam's work, so seeing these two on the same bill together was really cool as well. And in general, seeing Didrik release an original on Monstercat was really awesome. Considering I've watched his Monstercat live performance videos a countless amount of times, people are going to continue to call this a generic future bass track, but no one has been able to provide me with anything that sounds remotely similar besides Owl City himself. I'm going to keep loving this track, and I'm going to keep listening to it for years and years to come. It's just about time to unveil my #1 Monstercat release of 2018, but before that, I feel it's appropriate to give a shout out to some honorable mentions. without further ado, my number one Monstercat release of 2018 goes to me. This song is just so amazing on so many regards. To me, to say the least, is a perfect example of songwriters and producers working together in perfect harmony, in that there's no way Smile alone could have written a piece of music that's as intricate and complex as To Me is. At the same time, I don't think Nick Smith is a great enough producer to fully flesh out his ideas into a great sounding song. Smile took the vision of the songwriter and not only made it a reality, but brought it to another level entirely. I should probably also mention that Kiddo AI's vocals are on point, the top line is excellent. People are always going to go ahead and file this song under the indie dance category, but really To Me is so much more than that. The R&B and the jazz influence on this track are just absolutely perfect, all culminating in this absolutely insane keyboard solo toward the end of the track, which, and I'm not joking when I say this, is musically one of the greatest moments in Monstercat history. I honestly think it's on par with some of Haywire's best work. But yeah, this song came completely out of left field for me, surprised the heck out of me, and continues to surprise me and intrigue me every single time I listen to it. And that's about all I have to say today. I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed this video. Look forward to my top 10 EPs and my top 10 albums of 2018 coming very soon. And in the meantime, why don't you guys let me know down in the comments section below what your top 5 favorite releases on Monstercat were this year. Anyway, I'm Landon Remixes. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.